Good morning. This webinar offers closed captioning. To enable closed captioning, click on the live transcript button on the bottom of your screen and choose your preferred method. Welcome to the City of Chicago Department of Business Affairs and Consumer Protection webinar. Please note any website or email that I mentioned will be posted in the chat box. For those seeking business licensing assistance, you can visit the Small Business Center at City Hall or call 312-74-GO-BIZ. Also, business licenses can be applied for or renewed online at chicago.gov/business licensing. If you are part of the BACP Entrepreneur Certificate Program, you could get credit for joining this webinar, or if you just want to learn about the program, please visit chicago.gov/BACP certificate. Also, this webinar is being recorded and will be available at youtube.com/ChicagoBACP. I will post the mentioned information in the chat box. We encourage attendees to ask questions. Please use the chat box to send your questions. There will be a Q&A session at the end of the presentation. Please note that the views, information, and opinions expressed during this webinar are solely those of the presenter and do not necessarily represent the official policy or position of the Department of Business Affairs and Consumer Protection or the City of Chicago. Today's webinar will be Your Next Level Business, presented by Chase for Business. Turning it over to Frank.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you, Geraldine, and we appreciate the opportunity and the platform to present our information. My name is Frank Robinson, and you see Pamela Randall on there, and Pamela has a real deep voice, but no, it's me. It's Frank Robinson. I am a senior business consultant with Chase. And Pamela Randall is my co-host today, and she will be joining us and adding some information as we go through the slides. So let's get started. We appreciate the opportunity again to speak to you and talk about small business and a high-level overview on how you can take your business to the next level. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about your why and why that's important. Daymond John, he is an investor, entrepreneur, and a shark on Shark Tank. And from his book, Power Shift, Transform Any Situation, Close Any Deal, and achieve any outcome. He says, once I found my why, I was good to go. Each time out, the moment I understood what I was doing and why I was doing it was the moment I was finally able to make something happen. So let's think about that deeper, right? What is your why? Why are you going into business for yourself? Why are you deciding to leave corporate America? Is it a need that you see? Is it a niche you're trying to fill? Are you an expert at a particular field or service? Or do you have a set of particular skills that cannot be duplicated? So what is your why? And once you find your why, it'll be your compass, your guiding light to keep you on task. So take a moment and write down a couple words, if you can, about what is your why. And I think as you continue to process through this journey, that your why may change and you'll be able to adjust it as it goes. What we'll cover today will be 5 parts. Think like an entrepreneur, kind of talk about your mindset, establish a foundation for business growth. We'll talk about how businesses are organized. Develop agility and resilience, as we know that small businesses need to be agile and be able to change directions and access new strategies. Put people first, so as you continue to grow, we'll talk about employees and human resources. And then finally, we'll wrap it up with keep pushing and just your mindset in terms of going along this journey. All right, so think like an entrepreneur. A great business needs a great leader. With the right mindset, you can be that leader. And there are many different definitions of being a leader and being a good leader, for that matter. I personally see a good leader as someone who's positive, emotionally even keel, thoughtful, and forward-thinking. So that's the good foundation of leader. So what do you think a good leader is? Have you ever thought about what makes a good leader? And maybe you've had some good leaderships and some good leaders in the past. I want you to take a second now, jot down a couple attributes that you think that makes a good leader, and keep those in mind as you begin your journey or continue your journey with building your company.
The additional thing that I would just add to that is, on the contrary, oftentimes we can be in situations and find poor leadership, right? So understanding what is not necessarily considered great leadership can also help you craft your particular strategy as you either go into business, expand your business in terms of what will be most effective for you and your team and what didn't work in the past. So it is as equally important to understand perhaps the behaviors that some leaders may exhibit that do not lead to the positive outcome or success that the business is really embarking on.
Absolutely. Thank you, Pam. There's a flywheel at the center of your business. So Jim Collins, an author, and in his book, Turn the Flywheel, he talks about the flywheel effect. So picture a big wheel outside an old mill. It's heavy, it's hard to turn, right? And so water, a lot of water is poured on it to get it to go, to get it to move. But once it continues to move, it's less and less energy to continue that momentum. And that's the genius behind the flywheel, right? Once it gets turning, you need less energy to keep it going, and it has the momentum. And that's kind of how your business is. At the beginning, it's going to take a lot of energy, a lot of effort, a lot of work, and nurture it, to hold it, to continue to guide it. But ultimately, what you want to do is, and what you'll see as you continue on your journey, you'll need less and less energy to continue that momentum. And ultimately, what you would like to do is step back, be the ultimate CEO, and you have a great team running your business. So that's the point of that. Again, it's at first it's heavy and slow, but with every turn, it's faster. You keep that momentum, and that's what you'll be able to do. And it's up to you as the good leader to give your business the push it needs and continue on that grind. And you're going to run into, if you take an overall holistic view from a high level, it's going to seem like a big task, right? And so keep in mind that no single action is going to get you to your success, right? Or even upend you in terms of a negative effect. But if you continue on your process and keep these little steps going, you will absolutely look back and see all the process, all the journey and the distance you've come. And the way I look at it is, how do you eat an elephant? And it's one bite at a time. So you just keep grinding on it, keep taking those little steps, and you will see that you are going to be successful. And as you look back on this journey, it'll fulfill you. Anything to add, Pam?
Yeah, just adding to that, great thoughts, is that oftentimes when a business is at one particular level, let's just say, you have identified opportunities, you have consistent revenue, and so that flywheel is going. However, you recognize that you want to get your business to the next level. And so that some of that grit and grind that you had to use in order to get to one level is the same as you will need to use in terms of getting to the next level. Now, that might require different access to resources, information, or opportunities. So you may need to bring others along, different folks along in the journey. However, recognizing, as Frank kind of mentioned, your background, your framework, the why behind that, as your business continues to elevate, you'll be able to bring the necessary opportunities to you by accessing all of your resources, and then just reevaluating your strategy over time.
So this particular presentation is supposed to be live. So what we're going to do is skip through part of it in terms of workbooks action. So we're going to skip to slide 18, and we're going to talk about your focus. And on your focus is know your purpose. Why does your business do what it does? And so I was doing a little bit of research on this, and I found the purpose of eBay. And their purpose is to empower people and create an economic opportunity for all. So that's why their business does what it does. So when you're starting to really focus in on what you want to do and what you want your business to do, this is a great step or great beginning. So on your scrap piece of paper or on your notebook, on your computer or your tablet, write down a couple words or a couple phrases that why, to answer this question, why does your business do what it does? Now, this is going to be a living document in terms of your purpose, because your purpose may change as your journey continues, but this will be a great start for you. Define your mission. How does your business do what it does? Again, referencing back to eBay, connect people and build communities to create economic opportunity for all, right? So that's how they're going to do it. That's the platform they built. Again, think about your company, think about your business, think about your idea if you're not in the actual business, running your business stage yet. How do you want your business to do what it does? Again, eBay connects people and builds communities. How do you want that to be? And again, this is a living document, and your mission may change. Yeah, a year from now, 2 years from now. And then finally, capture your vision. So this is what big change do you want your business to spark? And this can be a grandiose idea, you know, and then following up here again with eBay, become the best global marketplace for buyers and sellers through technology, right? So what is your vision that you want your company to have in terms of a global effect, or an international effect, or, you know, or even just a local effect in terms of what you're doing? And all that, again, is going to be a living document, and it's going to be something that it may change. You actually may have an idea or that says, you know what, I really wanted to do this. Or as you continue to learn on your journey, you'll find different ways and different strategies that you might start to focus on. So again, take a few moments, write down a few words and phrases that describe the vision of your business. So really the purpose of this is to really to get it on paper, to focus your big ideas, come up with some emotion, and imagine the future really with that vision. Where do you want your business to go, and how do you want to do? Be concise, and don't be afraid to share it. Get some input from your family, your friends, from your counterparts, and go from there, from your vendors. And then as you get this down, this will all be part of your elevator pitch. So every time you talk about your business, every time you're pitching your business, your purpose, your why, your mission, your vision will all come into that pitch that you have going forward. Anything to add, Pam?
I would actually just add, as we look at business growth and business opportunity, you know, it's really important to recognize that business owners also go through a personal growth process, right? So business owners are so busy working in their business as opposed to on their business. So as an example today, by each of you being here, you're taking the time necessary in order to invest in the business itself. And so, and on the business, I should say. And so as a result of that, one of the things that we find really helpful that other business owners have shared is being able to embrace the challenges that may come along with it. Every day is really a new day for a business owner based upon opportunities that they may be presented or challenges that they need to overcome. But really having a team of effective advisors behind them can often help them get past some of the barriers that are there. In addition to that, as a result of setbacks that can exist, it's also important throughout this process is to ensure that you have a plan in order to overcome certain challenges, whether that's, you know, doing, as Frank said, as you're writing and creating your mission and vision statement, what else? What if this or what if that? Having a contingency plan and really being able to demonstrate first to yourself, second to your employees, that you've really thought through this and have a resiliency process in place to overcome them. And then the last thing that I would say is really looking from a lesson perspective as far as inspiration, what other business owners are doing that may be within your business or outside of your business, identifying certain levels of success and recognizing that you have the opportunity to learn from others, perhaps past mistakes and challenges in order to ensure that your business doesn't necessarily face those similar obstacles, or if you do, you're able to overcome them.
Absolutely. And again, just to piggyback on what Pam was saying, writing this all down will help you keep you focused, and then you can always come back and change it. When we're talking about a business plan, again, that's a living document, and taking notes. And anytime you find an idea that you might want to implement, write it down, and again, share it and get input, because it really is a lot of the things that we've done before. The basic idea has been built, and what you're trying to do is take it to the next level in terms of your idea and your business. So as we come to the end of this section, we've talked about some really big ideas. What about profit, right? And profit is the thing that's going to drive your growth. It's going to help you focus on what matters. And ultimately, your vision won't be possible without profit. And it's more than just generating revenue. There are a lot of businesses out there that generate a ton of revenue, but they're not profitable. And that's going to be the difference between the money you make and the money you spend. And that margin right there is going to help you focus, again, on what you want to do. And if you find that one of your business lines generates a ton of revenue, but it also costs you a lot of money to be able to run it, do you really want to focus on that? Or is there a line, for example, having your business online, and you can generate sales, and it doesn't take you a lot of effort, a lot of money to generate that revenue? That profit margin is going to be larger. So again, you may want to change your focus to online sales. Again, that's something you always want to continue to work on in terms of your profit. You want to always try to continue to streamline it. And one of the things that's really good exercise is a SWOT analysis. And so this is a good time. We'll give you some homework here, is to consider a SWOT analysis. Write down your strengths, write down your weaknesses, write down your opportunities, write down your threats. And again, this may be something that's at this point in time in your business that you're going to have certain strengths, certain weaknesses, certain opportunities and threats. And then a year from now, it may be a little bit different. So as you're working on your big ideas with your vision statement and your mission statement, and we're focusing on profit, again, your SWOT analysis will help you continue to keep your focus on your business, and where you'll be able to focus on that profit and generating revenue, and with the profit, I lost my train of thought there. Continue to work on building that profit margin in your business. All right. Next section, establish a foundation for business growth. So the structure of your business when you start, and many of you may have already started your business and already have decided what type of business structure you want to have, but this is a really important part of your foundation and where you want to go with your business. So your business structure is going to control or limit or give you all the liability. It's also going to give you the opportunity to see how much flexibility you have in your company to move and change with your different strategies. It's also going to give you the control or not have the control. It's going to tell you exactly who can control the business, if it's you or if it's a board of directors. And it's also finally going to be able to see how you can get funding. Big banks and financial institutions are going to look at your business structure to see how they can actually give you money when it's time to have access to capital. So on a basic level, high level overview, sole proprietorship is the basic and the most, probably the most popular and the easiest business structure to get. Single owner, it's low cost, one person has complete control, and all the personal liability actually falls on that one person. And again, the payroll taxes may or may not be deductible expenses. Again, you want to meet with your tax advisor to be able to understand your taxes. Again, sole proprietorship is the basic most easy business structure to get. So next one is partnership. Again, it's simple, low cost setup, shared control between partners, multiple owners. Partners are, again, personal liable. And then again, when we talk about the taxes, they may or may not be deductible in terms of how you plan with your tax advisor. Now, another form of a partnership is going to be an LLC, a multiple owner. We'll go get to that in a couple slides. But again, that's going to be a decision that you're going to really want to sit down and make sure that that's where you want to go. And again, a lot of these are, you're able to move them as you continue to grow. Next are going to be the C corporation and the S corporation. Again, these are going to have multiple shareholders. The setup can be complex, and you really want to probably get an attorney involved with it in terms of the structure. You're going to have a board of directors. You're going to have annual meetings. The owners aren't necessarily liable on this, and there's potential for some different taxation. Again, you want to make sure you talk to an attorney and an accountant to make sure you're doing this correctly. There's two forms. There's a C corporation and an S corporation, and the difference between the two are going to really be on who has control, what they can do with the taxes and the meetings and the voting rights. Now, another form of a partnership is a LLC, or a limited liability company. And these are probably the most popular ones as people continue to grow in their small business. LLCs can have multiple owners. It can be a single owner LLC or a multiple owner LLC. The owners, as the name suggests, are going to have some limited liability. There are no shareholders, but there can be investors, and the earnings are passed down to the owners. Now, many times an organization may be formed as an LLC, and they're taxed like an S corporation, and there's some benefits with that. Again, highly recommend you talk to your accountant with that. And speaking a little bit more on a limited liability company, you really, when you form this company, you're going to have an operating agreement, and you really want your operating agreement to be as detailed as possible. Because the operating agreement is going to, when you look for, in the future, when you go and have access for capital, you apply for a line of credit or a loan, the lender is actually going to really look at your operating agreement to make sure who has control of the company, who has the liability of the company, who can actually sign for the company in terms of opening accounts and sign for this loan. And the biggest part of the operating agreement that I think people don't really take a lot of thought into is when you have multiple owners, is the dissolution of the company. Because at the beginning, everything is great. Everything is in a honeymoon stage, but ultimately as companies grow, people have different ideas on how they should get to the end goal and the end result. And there's a situation where that the partners need to split. The company needs to have a divorce in terms of the owners. You really want to have a dissolution process that is detailed so that everyone understands what the process is. If someone wants to get out, or if they want to, if the company is to dissolve or to go out of business, how the assets are distributed, how the bills are paid. If there's any excess left, how is that supposed to be split up amongst the owners? And if we were live, we'd probably have some questions on this one. Pam, do you have anything to add with the business structure?
Yeah, I think overall what we find is that business owners that are successful have three advisors, if you will, that they're connected at the hip to, which is their attorney, and in determining the most appropriate structure for your business. That's where you will get amazing advice, because they're considered the expert in that particular area. So leveraging that opportunity from an attorney perspective. The second is their CPA. So working with your accountant or CPA is extremely important, because they can also, help either identify opportunities to lower your tax liability and take advantage of things of options that you may not have known existed. And then of course, their financial advisor or their banker, which is really, crucial in terms of advising them along the way as they look to, as Frank, as you mentioned, like accessing, credit or seeking out new opportunities. So specifically, while we are talking about different structures in this section, the reality is that the best advice that you would get would be from your attorney in that particular resource, which has an expert, which is an expert in that area.
Right. And just to piggyback on what you said earlier is that it stepping out and working on your business, and that's going to be part of it, right? It's having those advisors to be able to handle the things that you don't necessarily either are not good at or you don't want to do or you don't have the passion to do, so you really can get back into running your business. And so making that decision, developing those relationships, developing those networks is absolutely important. That goes along with the business structure. And then the last one we want to briefly mention are B corporations. And these are businesses that can get certified as a B Corp. And really what this does is it's that they have made a commitment to doing public good for the environment, for the communities, and just for people in general. There's a lot of information online for B corporations and how to get certified. And again, that's just going to be more of a designation in terms of how you do your business with the community. Okay, streamlining operations. I believe that your operations management is the most important part of how you're going to run your business. So here at Chase, when we talk about our small businesses and we are mentoring our small businesses, we have 5 pillars. And of the 5 pillars that we talk about, cash flow management, business development management, tax advisors in general, access to capital, operation management is the one basic foundation of those 5 pillars that affect the other 4. So you want to make sure that your operations is streamlined and that you're able to run a business that is steady and that is efficient and is smooth. Again, it's easier to push the flywheel when your operations is running smooth. The organization, the way you do it, it can make the difference, right? So as you're building your operations, you're going to have a standard operating procedure, right? In terms of what you do on a daily basis and how it's supposed to be done, and who has the responsibilities of what tasks. You want to be able to make sure when you're organizing your operations, you want to make sure you find the right space. Is that going to be a home office? Or is that going to be a shared office? Or are you going to buy a building or are you going to rent a space? Again, that's going to be very important. Is it going to be online versus a brick and mortar? You want to establish a customer support system, which ultimately what we're saying is, how are you going to communicate with your customers? How are you going to communicate with your vendors? You want to be able to have a system in place and it's written down on the processes of how that works. You want to be able to develop a storage system where all your information is filed and secure. So is it, in the old school cabinet? Is it going to be online? Is it going to be on the cloud? Is it just going to be on your desktop or your laptop? Is it going to be backed up? And then how are you going to communicate that information that is stored? How are you going to access it? All that stuff is super important. And again, those are the details that are going to help your organization run smoothly and your operations run smoothly. Managing your books. When are you going to do your books? Is it going to be a daily task? Is it going to be a monthly task? How are you going to do it? Are you going to do it with software? Or are you going to do it with an old school book like the accountants they have in the movies? And who's going to do it? Is it going to be a bookkeeper? If it's going to be a spouse, is it going to be you? Is it going to be an accountant? And are they going to be regularly available? Again, all these things are details that you definitely want to make sure you take a look at when you're organizing your company, when you're building the operations. You want to schedule effectively. That's not necessarily going to always be about meetings, but it could be your work schedule. Are you going to be open 9 to 5? Or are you going to be open 6 to 6? Is it going to be 24 hours because you're online? Again, operations of your business. And then again, plan for taxes. This is where your team of advisors is going to be really important, because you want to be able to plan, and we'll talk about this a little bit later in terms of being agile and being able to pivot on your strategies. Access to capital is going to be one of those things that you're going to want to be able to set your company up for. And so when you're at the beginning, you want to organize your company so that it will be able to have access to capital as it gets through its aging process. Pam, this is an important one. Did you have something to add on this one? Okay.
Sorry,
So
I was on
with
mute.
that,
I'm sorry.
oh,
I was saying that,
that's okay.
yeah, that I definitely thought you covered, all the topics, just in terms of the organization itself, making sure that as a business that you have everything in place, because I personally believe that, structure liberates, and there's so many different ways that a business owner can be pulled into different directions. And so having at least that organization piece is important. Sometimes we have, business owners that we work with that are also, that leverage virtual assistant organizations that, may perform certain tasks that won't necessarily be as costly as if they actually had, someone directly on staff with them, but they may focus in a project area, or, to set up meetings for them, or to accomplish specific tasks. But whatever resource you can use to help with your organization really gives you, as the business owner, more time to focus on the business at hand and help the business grow and scale.
Absolutely. And let's dig into that a little bit more. So when we talk about organizing your company and the organizational part of it, let's talk about mapping out your processes and your workflows. So you want to start by taking inventory of every aspect of your business. And I know this may seem like a tedious task, but it's very important. And you want to mark out or outline and write down every step that needs to complete each activity. And then ultimately what you're doing is you're building a standard operating procedure. You're building a book so that one day, the day when you're able to step out and the wheel is moving on its own momentum with less energy from you, you literally can go in, pick up this book, whether it's online or a physical book, and see how you turn on your computer, see how you do the opening procedures, see how you do the closing procedures, see how you respond to a customer review that may be negative, respond to a customer review that's positive. And again, this will be, as Pam said, this organization, this structure will absolutely help you continue to grow in your business. And this is a big task. So start with an outline in terms of the duties that need to be done. And then you can take it step by step and fill in the blanks. And again, I believe this is a living document, because as your business continues to grow, there are going to be activities that you do right now, and then there are going to be activities that you may start to begin to outsource, because it's going to be more efficient or more profitable to have someone handle a certain part of the daily duties that you don't necessarily need to do anymore. And then once you write them all down, analyze them. Where can you slow down? Where you can speed up? Where are there some opportunities for improvement? Are there parts in this process that mistakes are made quite often, where you may be able to go back and change that process, especially when you start having employees? This is a really important part of it. And then you can get input. If you're looking at it and you're trying to figure out how you can make this better, there are experts out there that can say, you know what, this is how we do our customer feedback, and it slows the process down, and we are able to communicate with all our customers that have some type of comment and this process works best for us. So a lot of times, a lot of these processes have been streamlined and are effective, and don't be afraid to ask for help on this. And again, as you're analyzing your process and you're writing down the data, you can see where you're falling short. You can see where you're effective. You can see where, you know what, if I do this particular process, this particular way, we're able to streamline our activity, and therefore it's cost us less. And so at that point in time, you may be able to increase your profit margin by analyzing the data. So for some homework here, we want you to break down, start your outline of your operations and see how you can improve your processes. And just start. If you haven't thought about it, start with an outline, start out with just the activities that need to be done, and then start filling in the blanks. And that'll be your start of your SOP, as I like to say. Anything to close up that section there, Pam, that I missed?
No, we're good. Thank you.
All right, section 3. Develop agility and resilience. Now, we all know, going through the pandemic, going through COVID-19, that if businesses did not have the ability to adjust to the environment, that they suffered greatly, they went out of business, or they just flat out struggled. And you got to be able to have the forward thinking to say, where is my business vulnerable? If something happens, specifically like the pandemic, if something happens, how can I make an adjustment? If I have the opportunity, how would I be able to take advantage of that opportunity? If I have to pivot strategies, how would I be able to do that? And that's one of the things that, again, a good leader, a good business owner, you'll have to always continuously think about where you're vulnerable at, or where are you able to take advantage of some opportunities that might come down the line. Restaurants are a great example. Yeah, during the pandemic, if you were a restaurant and you had great food and people loved coming to your restaurant, a good restaurant or good owner was able to take and replicate their food on a takeout or delivery process, and they were able to continue to keep their business going. And if they were able to adapt that to that, whether in online orders or online payment systems, they were able to adjust and take advantage of the opportunity, because people really still wanted to go out to eat. People still really wanted to have food brought to them and experience this fine dining. But with the pandemic and, not being able to go in and sit down in a restaurant, people still want to experience the food of their restaurant. And so the restaurants that were able to adjust to this quickly were super successful. And again, there was opportunities and other businesses that came out of the pandemic. And again, it was one of those things where people were able to adjust to the environment very quickly. So let's take a look at this poll here. So right now, if you would look at your business, for those who have started right now, what would be the difference, or what would make your business more agile, more resilient in today's environment? Would it be a larger cash savings in the bank? Would it be the ability to secure new capital, meaning a line of credit, or maybe even consolidate some existing long-term debt? Would it be to improve security, whether it's to your building, whether it's to your IT system? Find new customers, business development. Would that be one of the things that would make your business more agile? Or investing in new tools and equipment, or even processes, for that matter, or strengthen business relationships, networking? Always have to be forward thinking in terms of, how can I continuously improve my business? How can I streamline operations? How can I be more agile? How can I be able to resist any threats that happen to come on my business? So cash flow is probably one of the biggest things that business have, and you can let me know, Pam, on your comments on this one, that are going to make business have to be able to have the opportunity to pivot and be able to take advantage of opportunities that come up and pivot to new strategies. 75% of business owners anticipate a need for financing to fund continued growth. And I know business leaders took this survey, but I would probably suggest or say that this number is probably higher, especially with businesses that are younger. And again, that goes back to your operations, the way you structure your company is that you always want to set it up so you can take advantage of having access to capital when time arises. Investing in technology. So again, we talk about profit drives your growth. That's exactly what this saying is. So if you have a company that has some avenues that you can drive your profit, where your revenue and your expenses, you have a great margin, you want to take that money, reinvest it into technology to make things smoother, whether it's an updated online system for customers to be able to take advantage of ordering. Maybe investing in technology to making your business more secure. Maybe it's in technology to be able to take all your information that's on your hard drive and store it in the cloud. So now you can access it not only from your home office, but you can access it from your brick and mortar building. Or maybe you have employees that live in a different state. So investing in that type of technology will absolutely make your business more efficient. Are there things in your business right now where you can take advantage of improved technology? Write that down and again, revisit it. Maybe you want to put that in your operations manual. Again, when we're talking about your business, you want to be able to protect it for cyber threats. It doesn't necessarily have to be JP Morgan Chase, a large company that gets attacked by cyber criminals. It could be the mom and pop. And as you know, with a company the size as JP Morgan Chase, we have a whole IT department to be able to help us protect us from that. And then the mom and pop, the sole prop, the smaller LLCs may not necessarily have it or even think about it. So you absolutely want to have an IT specialist on speed dial to be able to help you protect you from cyber threats. Large companies aren't the only ones vulnerable. And then just to add to this, it's not necessarily all cyber threats as well. It could be just that your computer system crashes. You want to be able to, again, have that IT specialist be able to come in, get you back up and running, because with your system crashes, that could be your livelihood, again, from online ordering, accessing data, payroll, all the other aspects that goes to running your company. And the smaller you are, you're probably even more vulnerable than, let's say, a large company like ours. A little bit of more information in terms of cybersecurity essentials, right? So you want to make sure that you're educated and you're trained. Again, you want your IT specialist to be able to do that. You want to have someone, another good thing about having a specialist advisor is that they'll be able to look at where you're vulnerable at and be able to pay attention to the small details, be able to help you come up with a procedure in terms of accessing emails. Maybe you have some filters on incoming emails. And then with the cybersecurity and taking online payments, you want to make sure that you are following all the procedures and the laws that make sure that when you're taking people's credit cards and online payments, that it's supposed to be the correct way. Require strong passwords. And then finally, plan for the worst case scenarios. Again, this all goes along what we talked about at the very beginning of this section in terms of your operation and making sure all that is strong, making sure all this efficient, and make sure it's all very clear. So just the final on this cybersecurity, write down right now, how secure is your business when it comes to not just cybersecurity, but just even the threat of your business crashing, and how quickly can you get it back up and running? So go ahead and think about this, jot it down. And if you feel like you're on the 1, 2, or 3 in terms of being able to, you're at high risk or low risk, then good. Continue to look at ways that you can improve that. And if you're high risk, 8, 9, 10, then absolutely you want to make that a priority, because that's where you really can get in trouble in terms of your business failing. And then finally, with digital banking and taking your business online. Digital banking will absolutely help you improve your processes in terms of paying money out, sending money out to your vendors, and receiving money coming in. And I will have to do a shameless plug here. I believe Chase has one of the best online banking systems out. But right now, with your online system, or whoever your financial institution is, you want to make sure that they have a really good online bill pay system, and maybe ACH, where you can move money very quickly. You want to be able to monitor your accounts and apply all the notification tools that online systems have now, whether it's a deposit larger than $500 or some type of debit out of your account or withdrawal out of your account larger than $1,000 that you're not necessarily anticipating. And then a nice thing about this as well is that you can also get data on your customers and the cash flow coming in and cash going out. You can prioritize and organize where you're spending some of your money. And then at the end of the day, when you start talking about analyzing your cash flow, you can see where you're spending money. And then again, the nice thing about online banking is that you can integrate accounting software as well and make things a lot easier in terms of doing your monthly, quarterly, and annual taxes. And then finally, you can manage your credit card cash flow as well. And having everything in front of you makes it super easy. And then taking your business online. I believe, again, we talk about being agile, having the ability to be resilient. I think online banking or online business and having a website and having your website that's compatible to a tablet and a phone with an app is very important, because that's where you will be able to stay in the forefront of technology and of where people are doing their business. Everyone has a phone and everyone does a lot of shopping online. And that phone and the tablet is the best way to reach your customers. And you want to definitely make sure that you have a system in place that provides access to your customers. And a couple bullet points here is, what platform are you going to use? And is it going to be secure? Is it going to be reliable? All right. And how will you take payments? Again, online system, a website will also allow you to take payments and make payments as well. And then you'll be able to list your products. And then there's a couple other bullet points I want to add with your online presence, is that you'll be able to see reviews. There's a lot of people who may not know your business, and they may rely on the reviews, the positive reviews, to be able to say, hey, I want to do business with this company. And then, people may leave a negative review, and you may have a flaw in your system or something that someone doesn't like. You might be able to fix that. Again, use that to your advantage. And again, some obvious ones: office hours, when you're open, when you're closed, location, how to contact you. Again, you want all this information compatible not only on a desktop, a laptop, a tablet, and your phone. Anything to add with that, Pam, as we're flowing through towards the last two sections?
You're fine.
All right. Mm-hmm. All right, let's talk about human resources. Let's talk about your employees on this next section. As you continue to grow and you're adding employees to your business, small business, you really want to make sure that you put some thought in on what type of boss you want to be. 82% of business leaders agree having engaged and committed employees is a critical factor for business survival, especially in today's environment. So if you're fortunate enough to be able to add employees, and depending on the salary and the pay rate that you're going to bring them in, there might be other competitive salaries at that particular position. And you want to be able to have an advantage in terms of your business and how you treat your employees, the workplace that they have, and just the overall culture of your business. Richard Branson, he is the founder of Virgin Atlantic, Virgin Hotels. He has a great quote that says, if you take care of your workers / employees, they'll take care of your business. And I truly, truly believe that, because you're not going to always be with them when they're representing your business. But if you make sure you take care of them, they will treat your business like it's their business. And some of the things you want to look for when you're assembling a team is, right, what is their work ethic? What kind of vision do they have? Do they like collaboration? And it might be, or do they need collaboration? It might be, you might have an opportunity for a position that doesn't need that, but you want to be able to make sure that, they check that box for you. Having a diverse workforce, right? People who make up for your weaknesses. I had an opportunity years ago to speak to 3 CEOs, and the common theme for them was hire people that are better than you. And that's particularly what that statement is saying. And then again, you want to hire people who are motivated, people who are hungry to succeed. And then you want to also build an attractive workplace, right? So again, we talk about the competitiveness of salaries these days, that you might have a situation where your salary that you're offered is the same salary as they can get maybe at a fast food place. So you want to make sure your environment, your culture makes up for the competitiveness of other opportunities for your employees. Most people are looking for more than a paycheck, offer a workplace that means something to them. And it can also be, having, building a culture where maybe they have their birthdays off and it's paid. Maybe you have the opportunity to offer 4-day work weeks and everyone has Friday off. If you're able to do something like that, be creative, make the workplace a place where people want to come and work for you, because not only is it a good salary, a good compensation, but you show that you value them as a person as well. So real quickly, what are your corporate crushes? So what's your favorite brand and why? What's the brand other people like but leaves you in the cold? Write this down, because I think how they run their business, of your favorites, and some of the brands that you don't like and how they run their business can help guide you in terms of how you want to run your business, especially going in the future. And Pam touched on this earlier, right? Working with professionals. So one of the things that you absolutely want to do when we talk about the 5 pillars that we talk about here at Chase is that your team of advisors, your CPAs, your attorneys, your bankers, your marketing professionals, your IT services can really take a lot of things off your plate and let you be able to focus on your business, especially if these are some of the items that you don't like to do. Leave it up to the experts to guide you and make sure that you're protected on this. And this list right here is absolutely can be longer, because Pam mentioned that, you can have an organizational assistant. You can have an HR recruiter. I know a person so I just referred to in our company that it's an Amazon business, and they hire drivers. And so the owner was getting bogged down in the system of continuously trying to hire employees or drivers and going through the whole HR process with the I-9s and background checks and drug screening. So finally they sat down and said, hey, why don't we hire someone to do this aspect of our job, and we can streamline that process. Again, work with professionals. And again, this list is not all inclusive. It can really be expanded to a lot of the things that you don't want to do, things that are taking up the time of your day to help streamline your business. And then again, connect with influence, network with people that think like you, people that can help you, people that can guide you, people that inspire you. And they might be able to open doors for you as you continue in the process. And then look for opportunities to, oh, I missed this slide there. Go back here. Take the opportunity to get certifications to make sure that your business and your organization stands out. Certify your business if it's an opportunity for you. Minority businesses that can tap into networks, where it's supply chain, where it's having access to contracts, and that allow you to make bids on government jobs. So again, take advantage of all of those. Tap into your network, and then maybe they'll but maybe they'll show you how to be able to get that and these other opportunities that come to you. Anything to add, Pam, on this before we go to this last section?
No, we're fine. Keep going.
Awesome. All right, last section. This is how we round it up. You want to keep pushing. This is an enormous task in terms of starting a business, and at least in the first 2, 3, 4 years. We talked about the flywheel, how all the energy it takes to get it started. But again, once that momentum goes, it's going to be easier and easier. It's going to be less energy to keep this machine rolling. And you want to just keep pushing. You want to absolutely keep pushing. And one of my favorite quotes, and I tell my children this all the time, from Monty Williams, the NBA head basketball coach. He was on the sidelines. He was talking to one of his players, and his players was struggling, and he's getting frustrated. And we're talking about a professional basketball player here. And he reached over to him and he whispered in there and says, "Everything you want is on the other side of hard." And I absolutely love that quote, because right now, all you young entrepreneurs, in terms of your business and your business being young, it's tough. It is absolutely hard. But you keep pushing and you keep grinding, and everything you want in terms of success, profitability, time, whatever your large goals are, it's right on the other side of this hard. So with that, I want to conclude our presentation. It's been roughly an hour. We will open it up for questions and answers, and anything that Pam may want to chime in, but absolutely appreciate your time. Jerlyn, do we have any questions in the chat?
So there are a few questions about the workbooks. If you're going to be able to send
Okay.
them to the attendees, that would be great.
Pam, I'm gonna defer that one to you. Is that
Yeah.
possible?
So the workbooks are actually part of a much broader presentation. And they we're not able to forward those. It is typically an in-person session. However, the things that are contained within the presentation in terms of the highlights from the workbook, everyone on and whoever may listen in the future is really capable of kind of taking those key pieces and working through those. As the last thing I would say, really is part of our overall Minority Entrepreneur Program. If there are people that are interested in overall digging in deeper into what we do and how we support businesses like that, we do have, there was, I believe, a QR code at the beginning and some contact information that you can use in order to reach out to us to get some of the additional one-on-one perspectives and coaching.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Another question. Hello, I know an attorney is important and great to have for many reasons, but at what point do I need an attorney? Example, once your company begins to make over 50,000, understanding that attorneys are expensive, and if you're not making a lot, the fee can take you under. So when is a good time to get an attorney? In the beginning, in the middle, in the end? Like, they're just wondering when's the step when they should be getting one.
I think that's a really good question, and thank you. In terms of getting an attorney, I don't think it's going to be based on revenue, so to speak, in terms of how much money you make. I think it's really going to be, you want to access an attorney when you really feel like there's some liability legally. So, for example, are you developing a recipe that can be copied? You probably want to get an attorney for a patent. Or are you selling something where that can hurt someone, or someone can damage some of that? You might want to get an attorney to make sure that you're your disclosures are tight and protect you. So it's really going to depend on the situation and your business in terms of when to get an attorney. I know that's not a real clear answer, but I don't believe that it's really necessarily generated on how much money you make, at least at the beginning.
Right, I absolutely agree with that statement, Frank. The other thing is from just a cost perspective, there are overall resources in the legal field that might have either discounted services, or in some areas there could be no cost or very low cost services based upon what you're looking for. And so it really is, kind of identifying overall what free or low cost resources are available, because many times I've had business owners that will just reach out and get some advice from an organization. They're typically nonprofit organizations that may have access to legal resources, and they're able to provide and answer those questions either at no cost or low cost. So it's really important to also access and find out what resources are available, and really try to take advantage of them.
Okay, great.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Yes, thank you for that. If anyone has any other questions, if they could please put them in the chat, we'll give everyone a minute or two. I know it was a lot of great information. Everyone's still digesting everything. So I'll give another minute or two, see if there's any questions. Again, this webinar has been recorded and will be on youtube.com/Chicago BACP. Give everyone another minute or so.
Oh, and while we're waiting for people, I don't know if we touched on it, and I apologize if I skipped over this slide, but having a business plan as well is going to be very important. So if you don't have a business plan, or you haven't looked at your business plan, let's say in the last 30, 40, 60 days, 45, 60 days, you want to review that and continue to review that, because that's going to, again, help you provide focus on your why, your purpose, your mission, and your vision. And again, like I said earlier, your business plan is going to be a living document, and things will change a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now.
Great. So one question was, if you could please put up the QR code again. And then another question is, are there different things a home-based business versus a brick and mortar business should do?
All right, I'm trying to find the QR code.
Yeah, so Frank, it's at the end of the presentation.
Okay. Is that it right there?
Yes, so there are a couple of resources. One is the Minority Entrepreneur page, so there's a QR code for that. And then there are additional articles under our Knowledge Center that you can actually access to provide just additional resources and insight that you might find valuable as a business owner.
Awesome, thank you. Geraldine, can you read that question again too, please?
Sure, no problem. And thanks for putting the QR code up. Are there different things a home-based business versus a brick and mortar business should do?
Wow, yeah, that's another really good question. There are a couple different ways to answer that. Now, in terms of just a space perspective, absolutely. You want to make sure that if you're in a home-based business, that you have a space identified specifically for your business. And there's going to be a lot of different ways, reasons for that. One, going to be for tax purposes. Two, just from an organizational piece. And as you develop your company there. But from a standpoint of financial, the home-based business can absolutely be a way where you can cut costs, because the fact that you don't have to pay rent or pay a mortgage of the particular brick and mortar. And as we know, just in everyday living, your housing expense is probably one of your biggest expenses. And that could be the same as true with owning a business right next to or right under employee salaries. I hope that answered the question.
Yes, thank you. Another question, is there a place I can get help with a business plan?
Yes, there are, and I'm not sure with your organization, do they help with business plans, but I know some small business development cities inside the city absolutely have workshops and classes and seminars for business plans development as well. Pam, do you have resources?
Yeah, it would really be the same, like small business development centers are available across the city and actually across the state, regardless of where you're located, that a business owner can reach out to get help with business planning. The Small Business Administration, or the SBA, is another great resource. If you go to their website and just outline what you're looking for, they actually have specific templates for business plans, whether depending on whether it's a new business, whether it's really a growth plan. So yes, I would start with the Small Business Development Centers, which are called SBDCs for short. And then of course the SBA, Small Business Administration. If you go to their website, you'll be able to find relevant resources. And then Geraldine, I know that you guys also have an entrepreneurship program. Are you guys providing business plan support?
So we do offer the BACP Entrepreneur Certificate Program, which is attending 9 classes in certain categories in the 6-month period. The webinars are the main resource for that program. However, we do partner with SCORE Chicago, has a great one. The Women's Business Development Center is also a great Allies for Community Business. And we also have our Chicago Business Centers, which I could put the link in that in the chat as well.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
No problem. Let's see, any other questions? Just a lot of thank you. SCORE has a business plan template. Yes, we actually just had a business plan webinar last week, which is on our YouTube page as well. So that's youtube.com/Chicago BACP. It looks like that is all the questions. I want to thank all the attendees. Thank you for taking your time and coming to the webinar. And as always, thank you to our great presenters for donating their time and presenting such great information for all the entrepreneurs in the city of Chicago. I want to wish everyone a safe and happy weekend. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Geraldine. Appreciate it.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.